behalf of the Board of Directors, let me welcome all of you to the American Riviera Award ceremony presented by Chopin Vodka. I have been looking so forward to this evening since our recipient was announced. Annette Bening, where should I begin? I think most of us have followed her career very closely since her performance in The Drifters. Since then, we've expected an incredible performance, and she always complies. I think our family's personal favorite until this year was The American President. But how about Postcards from the Edge? American Beauty, Being Julia, or Regarding Henry. However, in 2010, she had two truly incredible performances, Mother and Child, and her Golden Globe winning performance of The Kids Are All Right. So let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce tonight's moderator, our executive director, and the driving force behind our festival, Roger Burley.
Good evening, everybody. On February 14, 1987, I was invited on a Valentine's Day date to see the preview of a brand new play on Broadway. The play was called Coastal Disturbances by Tina Howe. I cannot remember much about this Valentine who invited me to attend this play. Who knows what happened to him? But I will never be able to forget the person I fell in love with that evening, Annette Bening. It was her Broadway debut, and she played this young photographer named Holly so passionately, swooning between tears and laughter and lust and on the brink of a nervous collapse. I've never seen a Broadway debut like this, and I have never seen a performance like this. Fortunate for all of you, Annette followed this Tony-nominated portrayal of Holly with film performances that are just as unforgettable. Myra Langtry in The Grifters, Virginia Hill in Boxy, Carolee Burnham in American Beauty, Julia Lambert in Being Julia. These are all completely different characters from the one I saw that evening in 1987. All very specific, all very original, but created with the same intelligence and sensitivity by the same remarkable actress we're honoring tonight. Seeing Bening's filmography up until now, you will notice an extreme versatility and ferocious commitment. You will also note that her characters never beg for your sympathy. She displays very little vanity as a performer. She's saucy and provocative in The Grifters. She's lethal and cynical in Valmont, and unpleasant, neurotic in American Beauty. She goes for broke, displaying every form of emotion as the narcissistic actress in Being Julia. In Mrs. Harris, she's able to tap into her character's core astringency.
That was beautiful. Thank you very, very much.
I'm grateful for all you've done for us. And you were here 7 years ago, and it's just great to have you back in Santa Barbara.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work on that. It's beautiful. Thank you.
It was when you do something you love for somebody you love, it's easy.
Thank you so much.
And your Oscar nomination on Tuesday, how's it feel? Your fourth Oscar nomination.
Thank you. Let's see, how does it feel? Fantastic. Overwhelming. I'm so excited. I'm having great fun with it. Thank you.
As an actor, I mean, do you enjoy, the recognition, getting an award nomination? Is that?
Definitely. Yes, no, I do enjoy it. And this movie that we worked on, Lisa Cholodenko, the director, is here tonight. So this is it was a very special movie for all of us. So we had no idea what the life of the movie would be. You never do when you're working, is all you can do is work on the process as best you can. So the fact that the movie has had the life that it's having, we're all so excited. We're having a great time. The first time I went through the sort of the awards process was 20 years ago. So I think that 20 years on, right now, I think I can enjoy it all the more, have that much more fun with it. I know how fleeting it all is. And we all work, those of us who are lucky enough to work on movies, some work out and some don't. And you put just as much heart into the things that don't have a life as those that you do. So when something comes together in the way that this has, it's a great celebration. I'm thrilled.
Again, I've seen all your work and obsessively now, and you do have these characters that are trying to keep it together. And in the mask, is sort of, you're trying to keep the mask on, and it's falling, and they're collapsing. Is that something that has attracted you? You know, characters, women on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, there is a theme there, isn't there? But I think that's also in characters that are interesting, that people who are, I mean, I think that's what, to a degree, maybe not to that degree, but that we all try to do, is we try to keep ourselves together, and we try to keep from falling apart, and we're trying to, you know, whatever specific situation. So yeah, I think that most good characters have that, and I guess maybe that's what I'm attracted to.
Please welcome Academy Award winner Kevin Costner.
Well, good evening. It's a really nice evening backstage just listening to you. And, you know, I said, well, this is towards the end of the night, so sometimes these feel like the beginning of the night remarks. But I said, well, what do you want me to do, actually? I said, well, how about a little anecdote? How about you say a few words? And my anecdotes are always 3 hours long. So, but I just couldn't help but think about you, you know, and one of the stories I will tell you before I talk about her was during the making of Open Range, we were making this gigantic gun battle, and I had brought everybody out into the street, and I was explaining where you run and how you die. And you have to run, you have to hide better, you're not hiding good, you know. You have to, there's things that you have to be. And I brought everybody out there, and I've been playing this game since I was probably 5, so I knew how to hide and how to shoot. And Annette, of course, was standing with everyone else, and she had her arms crossed. It's very formidable. And she was listening, and I was explaining to these actors who only wanted to be in the position that she'd achieved in her life. And she just listened, and she listened, and I went on and on and on, and I kept looking over her, and I was so ready for her to hand me my head. I know, I guess the great directors don't talk a lot. I was having to talk an awful lot to these guys, you know, about not getting killed, you know, because you're not coming back, you know, and finally, I felt so bad because she was so patient. She sat there, and this is, you know, this is our Hepburn. I looked over to her and I found these great words of wisdom as a director, you know, and I looked at her and I said, Annette, I'm so sorry, this is the boys' part. She looked at me and she said, I understand. And she did. She is a director's best friend. And it wasn't about her, it was about the movie. And so I wrote a few of these things down, and I just going to start a little bit here. It's just, you know, really for, I don't know how many years, the last 80 years, directors from all over the world have been shouting out the word action. And it's purely an American word that has somehow found its way into every language, into every accent imaginable coming out of directors' mouth. It's really an odd word to use, given that most times it's anything but action that's required to create a moment in the life of a movie that we'll never forget. So, what is a director really calling for when he says action? And I think I can tell you, and I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets here when I do. The word action is really a wish, masked by a hope and supported by a prayer that something magical happens, something unexpected, something so spontaneous and close to the truth of the human condition that we have to stop and we catch our breath and we tell ourselves that could have been us, that was us. Something so real, so electric in its simplicity, that everyone working on a set on an already long day stop and watch, and they're reminded of why they got into this business in the first place. Something so unforgettable that some scumbag director finds a way to take credit for it years later. Yeah, I coached her on that little thing. You have to see right there. Just got her to move to her right a little bit and pull it right out of her. I wonder who has the creative courage to take credit for this actress's work. Anybody? I didn't think so. When I was asked to introduce you tonight, Annette, I felt honored. And it didn't matter to me how far down on the list I was. I know Jeff Bridges has had a real great year. I did, I felt honored, and I wondered if I would be able to praise you enough to give the people here tonight a soaring sense of who you are and what you have meant to our business. You are so unique and singular. Even your name, Annette, we don't have to use your last. People know it's you we're talking about. But your face and all the characters that you have managed to take on cannot hide the real you, no matter how beautiful on the outside. It's your inner beauty that we are celebrating tonight. When I hear that you've decided to be in a movie, I know it's going to be fascinating. I know it will also have a chance at greatness. And I also know, or I could bet, that deep down it's a role that you're not certain that you can master. Maybe one you will not be able to pull off. So why would someone so esteemed in our business risk that? Someone whose place has already been guaranteed on the short list of the greatest actresses in the history of Hollywood. Why wouldn't she be content to repeat the formula of proven success that everyone loves for her? Why not bask in the glory of what you've accomplished and simply let us adore you? Why would Annette continue to risk that pedestal that we want to put her on so much? The reason's simple. She has courage. She still unfashionably believes that the play is still the thing. She continues to hold herself accountable as an artist in every sense of the word. A word that she would never use for herself. I'm probably embarrassed that I have chosen to express it for her. Am I using too many adjectives? Probably not enough. How much time do I have to talk about you and this incredible life that you are only now in the middle of living? And how much more there is to come? You, Annette, who else but you could have landed Warren's great heart and created a home for this legendary wanderer? You've given your lifetime role to your children. You've dedicated time to humanitarian causes. You've given friendship to so many who love you truly. You are a first lady in more ways than you know. You are a woman for all seasons, and you deserve to be honored tonight. You honor your profession, and you honor yourself. You are a director's best friend, a prepared actress. And I thank you personally for the privilege of directing you, or kind of talking to you. Just getting out of your way. So come up here and let me hug you.
Well, thank you. I am so honored. I so appreciate this, that you chose to honor me tonight and to, wow, I'm a little overwhelmed. All right. Roger, Durling, Jeff Barbacoa, Carol Marshall, and thank you to everyone who worked so hard in putting this evening together. I know how much time it must have taken. And the Santa Barbara Film Festival is very important to all of us. All the film festivals are what is keeping the movies alive. It's a tough time right now in the movies, and we all need to be regenerated and renewed. And it's the love of movies that keeps us going. So thank you very much for being here and for this incredible honor. One of the most important things as an actor that we must do is to keep alive our sense of wonder about the world and the possibilities that we have of connecting to each other. So I feel so inspired and so grateful and so moved, and I very much appreciate this, and thank you, Kevin, for taking the time to come out and give me this award. I also want to thank Lisa Cholodenko for being here tonight, and Wendy, and I want to thank my dear agent, Kevin Huvain, who has saved me in many circumstances, including a recent party at which we were dancing, and a woman came up to me, a quite large woman, in a black dress, and she said, "My husband won't dance with me, and you must." And she pulled me onto the dance floor, and she was rather strong. And I was a little overwhelmed, and as she was hurling me around the dance floor, almost dislocating my arm, and Kevin launched into the room and saved me. So thank you, Kevin, for that. I also want to thank, there's one movie star in this room that hasn't been recognized sufficiently tonight, and that's my husband, Warren Beatty. Any shred of humility that I ever had is now gone.